I'm Emma, 30 years old. My world changed last month when my husband, Jacob, died from a sudden illness. I still cannot believe he is gone. The shock is heavy. I often feel like I am walking through a fog. Jacob was my best friend. We met in college. We shared dreams and laughter. Our love was deep. We talked about our future, our plans to travel, and maybe starting a family. Now, those dreams feel empty without him. This past week has been a blur. I feel completely alone. I reach out to my family, hoping they will help me through this. I call my sister, Sarah. I want her to come and support me. I need someone to share my pain. But when I call, she tells me they are celebrating her birthday. I feel a wave of sadness. I ask if she can come later. I tell her I need her. But she says they have plans. I hang up feeling abandoned. My parents don't even call. They are busy with Sarah's celebration. The family I thought would be there for me seems distant. I sit in silence at home, thinking about Jacob. It hurts to remember the happy times. I see his smile. I remember how he laughed at my jokes, even the bad ones. We had so many plans together. Now, I feel lost. The house feels empty without him. That night, after the birthday party, I sit alone. I try to reach out to friends, but they are all busy. Everyone has their own lives. I feel like I am shouting into a void. I think about how unfair it is. I want support, but all I feel is loneliness. I think about my family. They are supposed to be my support system. But they seem to care more about a birthday than my grief. I feel betrayed, especially by Sarah. I remember how close we used to be. Now, I don't know what to think. As the night goes on, I decide I will go to Jacob's funeral alone. It feels right. I need to say goodbye in my own way. I do not want to pretend that everything is okay. I do not want to deal with my family's indifference. The next day is the hardest. I wake up early, feeling heavy with sorrow. I put on my black dress. It feels strange to wear it without Jacob by my side. I look in the mirror and see a woman who has lost her love. I feel like I am in a bad dream. I arrive at the funeral home. The atmosphere is somber. Friends and family gather, but I feel disconnected. I see Jacob's parents, and they greet me with warm hugs. Their grief is real. They understand my pain. As I sit through the service, I struggle to hold back tears. The words spoken are kind, but they feel distant. I look at my family, and they seem absorbed in their own world. Sarah is talking to friends, laughing softly. I feel anger rise inside me. When it's my turn to speak, I take a deep breath. I walk to the front and try to focus. I think about Jacob, how much I loved him. I tell everyone about him. I share our dreams and the life we built together. I talk about his kindness and how he always supported me. I see tears in the eyes of Jacob's parents. They nod, and I feel a connection. But then I glance at my family. They seem more interested in how they look than in my words. The lack of empathy stings. After the service, I feel drained. I try to connect with my family, but their support feels shallow. Sarah approaches me, and her smile feels forced. I want to scream. I want her to understand my pain. But instead, I just nod. I feel like I am in a fog, moving through the day without really living. I think about how I need to focus on healing. I need to find a way to move forward. I leave the funeral home, feeling more alone than ever. In the days that follow, I try to distract myself. I clean the house, trying to find some normalcy. I go through Jacob's things, but it hurts too much. I put his clothes away, but I can still smell him. I feel like I am losing him all over again. I think about reaching out to my family again, but I hesitate. They did not support me when I needed them. I feel angry and hurt. I don't want to feel this way, but I do. I wish they could understand my loss. As the days pass, I feel the weight of my grief. I sit alone in the evenings, thinking about Jacob. I miss him more than words can say. I want to cry, but I hold back. I tell myself to be strong. I know I need to take care of myself. I need to heal. But the isolation is hard. I think about how I will face the funeral without support. The thought makes me feel heavy. I want to scream, but I stay quiet. My heart aches with every memory. I think about how Jacob would have comforted me. He always knew what to say. But now, I am left with silence. I know I must find a way to cope. I take a deep breath. I remind myself that I am not alone in my grief. I have Jacob's love in my heart. I will carry it with me, even as I face the hardest days ahead. I will find a way to honor him and my own journey. I close my eyes and picture Jacob smiling at me. I know I need to be strong for both of us. I prepare myself for the funeral and the pain that comes with it. I will face it head on, no matter how alone I feel. The day after the funeral, I wake up feeling heavy. The memories of Jacob flood my mind. Each moment feels sharp, like glass. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling. I think about how much I miss him. The silence is unbearable. I get up and make coffee. The smell of brewing coffee used to bring me joy. Now, it feels empty. I sit at the table, looking out the window. The world outside is moving, but I feel stuck. My phone buzzes, but I ignore it. I don't want to talk to anyone. I think back to the night after the funeral. I spent hours alone, reflecting on our life together. I remember our late-night talks, our dreams for the future. We had plans to travel, to build a life filled with love. Now, all I feel is loss. I decide to take a walk. I need fresh air. I step outside, and the sun is bright. I walk through the neighborhood, but everything feels dull. I see families playing, couples walking hand in hand. I feel like an outsider in my own life. As I walk, I try to reach out to friends. I send texts, asking if they can meet. I want to talk, to share my feelings. But no one responds quickly. I feel more alone. I sit on a bench in the park, watching the world go by. Hours pass, and I feel restless. I think about calling Sarah again. Part of me wants to tell her how I feel. I want her to understand my pain. But another part of me hesitates. I remember how she treated me after Jacob's death. Eventually, I decide to call Mark, a family friend. He has always been kind. I know he will listen. When he answers, I can hear warmth in his voice. He asks how I am doing. I tell him I feel lost. He suggests we meet for coffee. I agree, grateful for his support. Later that day, I meet Mark at a local cafe. I walk in and see him waiting at a table. He smiles and waves. I sit down, and we order coffee. I feel a sense of relief being with someone who cares. As we talk, I share my feelings about Jacob. I tell Mark about our happy moments and our plans. I tell him about the loneliness I feel now. He listens without interrupting. His presence is comforting. Mark shares stories about Jacob too. He talks about Jacob's kindness and humor. It makes me smile, even through my tears. I realize how much Jacob touched everyone around him. It helps me remember the good times, even in my sadness. But as the conversation shifts to my family, I feel a knot in my stomach. I tell Mark about the call with Sarah, how she prioritized her birthday over my grief. I feel anger rising again. Mark nods, understanding my frustration. He encourages me to stand firm in my feelings. He tells me it's okay to set boundaries. I appreciate his support. I know I need to focus on healing, but it's hard when my family feels distant. After coffee, I feel a bit lighter. I thank Mark for being there. As I walk home, I think about how I can find my way through this grief. I know I need to focus on myself and what I need. That evening, I sit in the living room, surrounded by Jacob's things. I look at our wedding photo and feel a surge of love. I want to honor him. I can't let the pain consume me. I need to find a way to move forward. I pull out a notebook. I start writing down my thoughts and feelings. I write about Jacob, our love, and my grief. It feels good to put my emotions on paper. I write about the happy memories and the dreams we shared. But I also write about the anger I feel toward my family. I write about how they let me down when I needed them most. I realize I need to let go of some of that anger. Holding on to it will only hurt me more. As I write, I feel a sense of release. I know I can't change my family's actions, but I can change how I react. I decide I will not let them define my grief. I will honor Jacob in my own way. The next day, I wake up determined. I know I need to take care of myself. I decide to go back to the park. I want to take a long walk and clear my mind. I need to find peace in my heart. As I walk, I notice the beauty around me. The flowers are blooming, and the trees are full of life. I take a deep breath, trying to soak it all in. I remind myself that life continues, even in pain. I sit on the same bench where I felt lost before. This time, I feel a sense of calm. I think about Jacob and how he would want me to be happy. I know I need to honor his memory by living my life fully. I decide then and there that I will not let grief define me. I will seek joy and support. I will find ways to remember Jacob while moving forward. I want to create a new life, one that honors our love. As I sit there, I feel a small spark of hope. I know the road ahead will be difficult, but I am ready to face it. I will reach out to friends, set boundaries with my family, and focus on my healing. I stand up from the bench, feeling lighter. I take one last look at the park before heading home. I know this is just the beginning of my journey. I will find my way, one step at a time. The day of Jacob's funeral arrives, and I wake up feeling a mix of emotions. I feel nervous and sad. I can't believe I have to say goodbye. I get out of bed and try to prepare myself. I put on a simple black dress, the one I had set aside for this day. I look in the mirror, trying to gather my strength. I remind myself that I need to honor Jacob. He deserves a farewell filled with love. I put on a little makeup, but I know I will probably cry. The tears are already close to the surface. As I leave the house, I feel the weight of the day ahead. I drive to the funeral home, my hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. I think about Jacob and how much I miss him. I wish he were here with me. When I arrive, I see people gathered outside. Friends and family are waiting. I take a deep breath and step out of the car. The air feels heavy with grief. I walk toward the entrance, and my heart races. Inside, the room is filled with flowers and soft music. I see Jacob's parents. They look lost, just like me. I walk over to them, and they pull me into a tight embrace. Their sorrow is palpable, but it feels comforting to share this moment with them. As the service begins, I sit in the front row, surrounded by people who loved Jacob. I see familiar faces, but I also feel the distance from my own family. I glance at Sarah, who is talking quietly with friends. I feel a pang of anger again. Shouldn't she be here for me? The service starts, and I try to focus on the words being spoken. People share stories about Jacob. They talk about his kindness, his laughter, and how he always helped others. I feel proud but also heartbroken. I want to shout that he was mine, that I loved him deeply. When it is my turn to speak, I feel my heart racing. I stand up, taking a deep breath. I look out at the crowd, and my eyes land on Jacob's family. They are nodding, encouraging me. I start to speak about our life together. I tell them about the first time we met, how his smile lit up the room. I share our dreams and the moments that made us laugh. I talk about the love we built together. As I speak, tears flow freely down my cheeks. I try to keep my voice steady, but it shakes. I think about how he always supported me, how he believed in me. I feel the weight of his absence pressing down on me. I want everyone to know how special he was. As I finish my eulogy, I look around the room. People are crying. I can see the love they had for Jacob. I feel a mix of sadness and comfort. I know he touched so many lives, but my heart aches for the life we will never have together. After the service, I stand near the entrance, feeling overwhelmed. I see my family approach, but their expressions are cold. I feel a knot in my stomach. They offer me their condolences, but it feels empty. Sarah tries to hug me, but I pull away. I can't pretend everything is okay. I notice her looking around, seemingly more interested in the crowd than in me. I feel anger bubbling up again. As people leave, Jacob's parents come over to me. They hug me tightly. They tell me they appreciated my words. Their support feels genuine, and I feel a sense of connection with them. We share a moment of understanding. I want to talk more, but I see my family again. They seem to be whispering and casting glances in my direction. I feel exposed, like they are judging me. I grip my purse tightly, trying to stay calm. I overhear Sarah talking to a family friend about the will. My heart sinks. I don't want to think about that now. I want to focus on Jacob, on the love we shared. But their whispers sting, and I feel a wave of anger and sadness wash over me. As we move to the burial site, I walk behind the casket. I feel the weight of the moment. We gather around the grave, and I watch as Jacob's parents say their final goodbyes. I can barely hold back my tears. When it's my turn, I step forward. I place a flower on the casket and whisper my love. I feel a deep ache in my chest. I want him to know how much he meant to me. How much I will always love him. After the burial, I stand with Jacob's family. I feel safe with them, surrounded by love. But my own family feels distant. I see Sarah again, and she seems to be laughing with friends. I feel a flash of anger. I walk away from the crowd for a moment to collect myself. I stand alone, looking at the grave. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. I need to focus on my own healing, but the pain of my family's indifference is hard to shake. As I turn to head back, I see Mark approaching. He gives me a warm smile and opens his arms for a hug. I step into his embrace, feeling comforted. He tells me he is proud of me for speaking about Jacob. I feel grateful for his support. As the day ends, I feel exhausted. I want to talk to someone about everything I've experienced. I want to share my feelings about Jacob and my family. But I also know I need to take time for myself. Driving home, I reflect on the day. I think about the love I felt from Jacob's family. I realize that not all family bonds are the same. Some support us in our darkest moments, while others pull away. When I get home, I sit on the couch, feeling a mix of emotions. I miss Jacob deeply. I wish he were here to comfort me. I wish I could share my feelings with him. I close my eyes, remembering his smile, his laughter. I vow to honor his memory by finding strength in myself. I will not let my family's actions define my grief. I will find my way through this pain. As the night falls, I feel a sense of determination. I know tomorrow will be a new day. I will face my grief head-on, and I will seek the support I need. I will honor Jacob and keep his memory alive in my heart. The day of the will reading arrives, and I wake up feeling anxious. My stomach is in knots. I can't shake the feeling of dread. I know this meeting will bring up many emotions. I think about Jacob and all the plans we made. I get dressed, choosing a simple outfit. I want to feel strong, but my heart feels heavy. I drive to the lawyer's office. The streets are busy, but I feel isolated in my thoughts. I keep reminding myself that I need to be prepared for anything. When I arrive, I see Jacob's parents waiting outside. They look as nervous as I feel. We greet each other with hugs, finding comfort in our shared grief. We enter the office together, and I feel the weight of the moment. Inside, the lawyer is already seated at a large table. There are papers spread out in front of him. He looks serious, and I feel my heart race. I sit down, trying to focus. I want to hear Jacob's wishes. The lawyer begins reading the will. My hands are clammy as I listen. I hear words about Jacob's assets, his savings, and his wishes for the future. I try to hold it together, but it's hard. As the lawyer continues, I feel a sense of dread. I know how my family has been acting. I worry about their reactions. Finally, he reaches the part about the inheritance. I hold my breath. The lawyer reads that I am the sole beneficiary. Jacob left everything to me. I feel a rush of emotions. I want to cry, but I also feel a sense of relief. Jacob wanted to take care of me. I look at Jacob's parents. They seem grateful and relieved. But then I notice Sarah's face change. She looks shocked and angry. I feel a knot tighten in my stomach. I knew this would not go well. After the reading, Sarah approaches me, her voice sharp. She asks me how I can keep all of it. She claims it's unfair. I feel my heart racing. I try to stay calm, but it's hard. I remind her that this was Jacob's choice. I tell her he wanted to ensure I was taken care of. She counters, saying I should share the inheritance because of our childhood sacrifices. I feel my anger rising. I tell her that Jacob worked hard for this. He made his choices, and I will honor them. I see my family members shifting, some looking uncomfortable. I feel like I'm standing alone against them. The tension in the room grows. I feel isolated. Jacob's parents try to intervene, but the damage is done. Sarah pushes harder, claiming I am being selfish. I can see that she is not thinking about Jacob at all. I take a deep breath. I know I need to defend what Jacob wanted. I tell her that this is not about being selfish. This is about respecting the man I loved. I feel the heat rising in my chest. As I stand my ground, I notice a family friend, Mark, watching from the side. He steps in and supports me. He tells Sarah that Jacob made his wishes clear. He reminds her that we all loved him, but his choices matter. The confrontation escalates, and I feel overwhelmed. I don't want to fight with my family. I want to honor Jacob, not create more pain. I excuse myself and step outside for a moment. I take a deep breath, trying to calm down. I feel tears forming in my eyes. I want to scream but hold back. Why can't my family understand? Why does it feel like they are only thinking about money? After a moment, Jacob's parents join me outside. They offer comfort, and I feel grateful. They tell me they understand the tension and support my choices. Their kindness makes me feel a little stronger. I go back inside, ready to face my family again. I know I have to stand firm. I can't let them bully me into giving up what Jacob wanted for me. I need to protect myself. As we continue to talk, I can see the divide between my family and me growing. Some family members agree with Sarah, while others support me. I feel trapped in the middle of this conflict. Sarah tries to manipulate me further. She brings up our childhood and how I had it easier than her. I feel hurt by her words. I remind her that this is not about our past. It's about honoring Jacob's wishes. The conversation becomes heated. I can feel my heart racing. I want to cry, but I hold it together. I know I need to stay strong for myself. I refuse to let their anger dictate my feelings. Finally, I tell them I need some time alone to think. I don't want to continue this argument. I feel drained, and I need to gather my thoughts. I leave the room, my heart heavy with sadness. In the quiet of my car, I take a moment to breathe. I feel the weight of the situation pressing down on me. I think about Jacob and how proud he would be of me for standing up for his wishes. As I drive home, I reflect on the day. I feel torn between my family and my love for Jacob. I know I have to protect my heart and what he left me. I won't let them take that away. Later that night, I sit in my living room, feeling exhausted. I pull out my notebook and start to write. I express my feelings about the will reading, my family's reactions, and my love for Jacob. Writing helps me clear my mind. I know I need to focus on my own healing. I won't let my family's anger define my grief. I will honor Jacob by standing strong. As the night goes on, I realize that I have to set boundaries. I can't allow my family to manipulate me or make me feel guilty. I have to protect what Jacob wanted for me. I close my notebook and take a deep breath. I feel a sense of determination. I will face whatever comes next with strength. I will not let fear or anger control me. I will honor Jacob's memory in my own way. Tomorrow is a new day, and I will continue my journey. I will lean on the people who truly support me. I will find my way through this grief, one step at a time. After the will reading, my heart feels heavy. I know the conflict with my family is just beginning. The tension hangs in the air like a storm waiting to break. I can't shake the feeling that things will only get worse. The following days are filled with unease. My phone buzzes with messages from family members. They want to talk about the will. I feel anxious every time I see their names on the screen. I ignore most of the messages, needing space to breathe. Sarah calls me several times. I can hear the frustration in her voice. She wants to discuss the inheritance. I know she thinks I owe it to her to share. I feel anger rising every time I hear her voice. I want to scream that this is not about her. One afternoon, I decide to meet Mark for coffee. I need someone to talk to. He has been a good friend during this difficult time. When I see him, I feel a little lighter. We sit down at our usual spot, and he can tell something is bothering me. I tell Mark about the messages from my family. I explain how they are pressuring me to share the inheritance. Mark listens, nodding in understanding. He reminds me that I have a right to stand firm. He encourages me to focus on what Jacob wanted. I appreciate his support. I want to be strong, but the weight of my family's expectations is hard to bear. I feel torn between my love for Jacob and my loyalty to my family. Later that week, I receive a message from my parents. They want to have a family meeting. I can tell from their tone that they are upset. I feel a sense of dread. I know they want to talk about the will again. I prepare for the meeting, but I also feel nervous. I know I need to set boundaries. I remind myself that Jacob's wishes matter most. I take a deep breath and try to calm my racing heart. When I arrive at my parents' house, I see them waiting for me. Their faces are serious. I can tell they have been discussing this for a while. I sit down, and the atmosphere feels tense. My father starts to speak first. He tells me they are worried about the family dynamics. He says I should consider sharing the inheritance. My mother nods along, her expression grave. I feel a wave of anger wash over me. I remind them that Jacob made his wishes clear. I try to explain my feelings, but they cut me off. They say I should think about family loyalty. I feel frustration bubbling up inside me. I tell them that Jacob's choice was not selfish. It was about ensuring my future. I see their expressions harden, and I know I'm pushing them away. Sarah jumps in, claiming that I should be more considerate of our family's struggles. She talks about how hard things have been for everyone. I feel my heart racing. I want to scream that this is not about them. My parents back her up, saying that I should show compassion. I feel trapped. I remind them that Jacob worked hard for what he left behind. I refuse to feel guilty for following his wishes. The conversation escalates quickly. I feel like I'm in a boxing ring, with my family throwing punches. They accuse me of being greedy, while I try to defend myself. I feel isolated and hurt. In the midst of the argument, Mark texts me. I glance at my phone and see his message, "Stay strong. Remember who you are." His words give me a moment of clarity. I breathe deeply, trying to regain my composure. I tell my family that I need to take a break from this conversation. I can't keep defending myself against their accusations. I stand up, feeling empowered. I say that I won't let them manipulate me anymore. As I walk out, I hear my mother calling after me. I don't turn around. I feel tears welling up, but I refuse to cry. I drive home, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. I know I need to protect myself. Once I'm home, I sit down with my notebook. I pour my feelings onto the pages. I write about the meeting and how hurtful the accusations were. I remind myself that I have the right to feel what I feel. As I write, I find a sense of release. I am grateful for Mark's support. I realize that I need to lean on people who truly care about me. I feel a renewed sense of strength. The next few days are quiet. I take time for myself, focusing on healing. I spend time in the park, walking and reflecting. I think about Jacob and how he would want me to feel. I know he would want me to stand strong and be happy. Eventually, I meet Mark again. We sit in the cafe, and I tell him about the family meeting. He listens and offers encouragement. He reminds me that I don't have to carry the burden of their expectations. I start to feel more empowered. I know I need to set boundaries with my family. I can't let their opinions dictate my life. I have to honor Jacob and take care of myself. As the days pass, I find a rhythm. I focus on my own healing and the memories of Jacob. I think about the love we shared and how I can carry that forward. I start to feel a sense of hope. One day, I decide to visit Jacob's grave. I want to talk to him, to share my feelings. I stand there, feeling the weight of my emotions. I tell him how much I miss him and how hard it is to face my family without him. As I leave, I feel a sense of peace. I know Jacob is with me in spirit. I vow to honor his memory by living my life fully. I will not let my family's anger overshadow my love for him. The road ahead may be difficult, but I know I will find my way. I will continue to lean on those who support me and stand firm in my decisions. I will honor Jacob's wishes and my own heart. I take a deep breath and walk away, feeling stronger. I know that I am not alone. I have the love of Jacob and the support of true friends. I will carry that with me as I move forward. The days following the family meeting are tough. I feel the weight of my family's anger pressing down on me. Guilt creeps in, whispering that I should do something to ease their pain. But I remind myself that I need to take care of my heart first. I spend time with Mark, who continues to be a good friend. He checks in on me regularly, and I appreciate his support. One afternoon, we meet at the park. The sun is shining, and it feels good to be outside. As we sit on a bench, I tell him about the guilt I feel over my family's anger. I worry that I am being selfish by standing my ground. Mark looks at me, his expression serious. He tells me that I have every right to protect what Jacob left me. He encourages me to focus on my healing and not let my family's emotions control me. I take a deep breath, trying to absorb his words. It's hard to ignore the guilt, but I know he is right. Later that week, Sarah sends me another message. She asks to meet. I hesitate, feeling a mix of dread and curiosity. Part of me wants to hear her out, but another part fears what she might say. I decide to meet her, hoping it might lead to some understanding. When I arrive at the cafe, she is already there, sitting at a table. Her face looks tense. I sit down, feeling nervous. Sarah starts talking about how hard things have been for her. She shares her struggles and how she feels left out of the family. I listen, but I can feel my defenses rising. I worry that she will bring up the will again. After a few minutes, she does. She tells me that she understands Jacob left everything to me, but she feels it's unfair. I feel frustration bubbling up again. I remind her that this was Jacob's choice. She argues that we should consider the family as a whole. I can feel my heart racing. I want to scream that this is not about her or the family. It's about honoring Jacob's wishes. I take a deep breath and try to stay calm. I tell her that I loved Jacob deeply, and he wanted to ensure my future. I see her expression shift from anger to something softer, but it's hard to tell if she truly understands. In that moment, I realize that she may never fully understand my grief. I feel a pang of sadness. I want my family to support me, but it feels like they are pulling away instead. After our conversation, I leave the cafe feeling drained. I know I need to protect myself. I can't keep letting Sarah and my parents dictate my emotions. As I drive home, I think about setting firm boundaries. That evening, I sit down with my notebook. I write about my feelings from the meeting with Sarah. I express my hurt and frustration, but also my desire for understanding. Writing helps me release the heaviness inside. A few days later, I decide I need to focus on myself. I take a yoga class, hoping to find some peace. As I stretch and breathe, I feel the tension begin to melt away. I leave the class feeling lighter. Mark checks in with me after the class. He asks how I'm doing. I tell him about my meeting with Sarah and my decision to set boundaries. He nods, encouraging me to keep standing my ground. I spend more time focusing on self-care. I read books, go for walks, and spend quiet evenings at home. I try to fill my days with things that bring me joy. I want to honor Jacob by finding happiness again. But then, the rumors start. I hear from a friend that my family is telling relatives I am greedy. It hurts to hear that. I feel betrayed. I thought they would understand, but instead, they seem to be tearing me down. I try to push the hurt aside, but it lingers. I feel like I am fighting a battle on two fronts, my grief and my family's anger. I know I need to talk to Mark about it. I need to process these feelings. When we meet again, I share the news about the rumors. Mark listens, his expression serious. He encourages me to rise above the negativity. He reminds me that I know the truth and that is what matters. I take his words to heart, but the pain of the rumors is hard to shake. I realize I need to focus on my own healing. I can't let their words control my feelings. I have to find strength within myself. That night, I write a letter to Jacob. I tell him about the rumors and how hurtful they are. I express my love for him and how much I miss him. Writing helps me feel connected to him and reminds me of our bond. As the days pass, I begin to find my footing again. I refuse to let my family's actions define my grief. I lean on Mark and my friends, who support me without judgment. One afternoon, I decide to visit a local support group for people who have lost loved ones. I feel nervous walking in, but I know I need to connect with others who understand. In the group, I find comfort in sharing my story. I listen to others talk about their grief, and it helps me feel less alone. I realize that everyone's journey is different. It's okay to feel what I feel. As I leave the meeting, I feel a sense of relief. I know I can carry Jacob's memory with me while finding my own path through this grief. I feel empowered to take control of my healing. I realize I have grown stronger through this experience. I won't let my family's anger consume me. I will honor Jacob by living my life fully and surrounding myself with people who love and support me. I take a deep breath and walk out into the world, ready to face whatever comes next. I know that I am not alone. I have the love of Jacob in my heart and the support of true friends. I will keep moving forward, one step at a time. The days after the support group feel lighter. I realize I need to set firm boundaries with my family. I can't let their anger and guilt control my life anymore. I know it won't be easy, but I feel ready to take this step. I sit down with my notebook one evening to write out my thoughts. I want to be clear about my boundaries. I know I need to express myself without anger. I decide to write a letter to my family, explaining how I feel and what I need from them. As I write, I feel a mix of emotions. I want them to understand my pain, but I also want to protect myself. I remind myself that I am not being selfish. I am honoring Jacob's wishes and my own heart. In the letter, I explain that I love them, but I cannot continue to feel guilty for following Jacob's wishes. I tell them that I need space to grieve and heal without their judgment. I want them to know that I am open to talking, but it has to be respectful. Once I finish writing, I feel a sense of relief. It feels good to express my feelings clearly. I decide to send the letter to my parents and Sarah. I know it's time to stand firm. The next day, I drop the letter in the mail. I feel nervous as I watch it disappear into the mailbox. I wonder how they will react. I take a deep breath and remind myself that I've done what I needed to do. A few days pass, and I receive a call from my mother. I feel my heart race as I answer. She sounds upset. She tells me she received my letter and wants to talk. I can hear concern in her voice. I agree to meet, but I set the location. I suggest a cafe where I feel comfortable. I want to create a safe space for this conversation. When I arrive, I see my mother waiting at a table. She looks anxious. I sit down, and she starts to speak. She tells me she was hurt by the letter. I feel a knot in my stomach. I want to explain, but she cuts me off. She says she feels like I'm pushing them away. I take a deep breath. I remind her that I need to grieve in my own way. I tell her that I'm not pushing them away, I'm protecting my heart. I can see her expression change slightly. I think she is starting to understand. As we talk, I share my feelings about Jacob and the pain I've felt from their reactions. I explain that the rumors hurt me deeply. I tell her that I need their support, not judgment. I can see her eyes soften a bit. My mother shares her own feelings too. She talks about how hard it has been for her to see me struggle. She admits that she didn't know how to help. I feel a flicker of hope. We continue to talk, and I can see that the conversation is moving in a better direction. I tell her about the support group and how it has helped me. I explain that I want to honor Jacob and take care of myself. By the end of our conversation, I feel a sense of relief. My mother agrees that we can work on our relationship. She says she will try to be more understanding. I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. As I leave the cafe, I feel hopeful. I know this is just the beginning, but it's a step in the right direction. I realize that setting boundaries doesn't mean pushing people away. It means taking care of myself. Later that week, I get a message from Sarah. She wants to meet again. I feel a mix of nervousness and determination. I decide that I will approach this meeting with an open heart, but I will also stay firm. When we meet, I can see that Sarah is calmer this time. She starts by apologizing for how she reacted before. I feel surprised but also relieved. I tell her that I appreciate her apology. It feels like a step forward. As we talk, I share my feelings about Jacob and my grief. I tell her that I need her support, not judgment. I explain how the rumors hurt me and how I want to focus on healing. I see her listening more intently now. Sarah opens up about her own feelings of loss. She admits that she has been struggling too. I realize that we are both grieving in our own ways. I feel a connection growing between us. As the conversation continues, I feel a sense of healing. We both express our love for Jacob and how much we miss him. I tell her that I want us to support each other through this. She agrees, and we both feel lighter. After our meeting, I feel a sense of hope. I know that setting boundaries has helped us create space for honest conversations. I realize that healing takes time, but it is possible. The next few weeks are a mix of emotions. I continue to focus on my own healing. I spend time with Mark and my friends, who support me without question. I feel grateful for their presence in my life. I also make more efforts to connect with my family. I reach out to my parents and invite them over for dinner. I want to create a space where we can all talk and share. I feel nervous but hopeful. When they arrive, I feel a mix of anticipation and anxiety. As we sit down to eat, I can see that there is a new energy in the room. We laugh and share stories about Jacob. It feels good to connect. After dinner, we talk openly about our feelings. I can see that my family is trying to understand my perspective. I feel a sense of warmth and connection that I didn't expect. As the night comes to an end, I feel grateful for the progress we've made. I realize that setting boundaries was the first step toward healing. It allowed us to communicate honestly and rebuild our relationships. I know that the road ahead may still have bumps, but I am ready to face them. I have learned that I can honor Jacob while taking care of myself. I will continue to lean on the people who truly support me. As I close the door behind my family, I feel a renewed sense of hope. I am stronger than I was before. I can navigate my grief while finding joy and connection in my life. I will carry Jacob's memory with me every step of the way. The weeks following the family dinner bring a sense of calm. I feel lighter, knowing that I have set boundaries and opened up communication. But then, one day, I hear more whispers about my family spreading rumors. I feel a wave of anger wash over me. This time, it's about me being greedy with Jacob's inheritance. I try to shake off the hurt, but it lingers. I feel betrayed, especially after our recent conversations. I know I must address this, but I don't want to escalate the situation. I decide to talk to Mark about it. He's been my rock, and I need his support. When I meet Mark at our usual cafe, I feel anxious. I share the news about the rumors. I explain how they are affecting me. Mark listens intently, his brow furrowing. He reminds me that I can't control what others say. I know he's right, but it still hurts. He encourages me to focus on the positives. He reminds me of the progress I've made with my family. I feel a flicker of hope. I realize that I can't let their words define my journey. I take a deep breath and decide to let it go for now. As the days pass, I try to stay busy. I immerse myself in work and spend time with friends. I want to keep my mind off the negativity. I take long walks in the park, enjoying the fresh air and sunshine. I focus on the beauty around me and the memories of Jacob. One evening, I sit down to write in my notebook. I pour out my feelings about the rumors and the hurt they cause. I express my desire for peace and healing. Writing helps me process my emotions. I feel a sense of release as I put my thoughts on paper. But then, a moment of doubt creeps in. I question if I made the right decisions about the inheritance. I miss Jacob deeply, and I wish I could talk to him about everything. I write a letter to him, sharing my struggles and seeking closure. As I write, I feel connected to him. I tell him how much I miss him and how confused I feel. I wish he could guide me through this. I finish the letter, feeling a mix of sadness and comfort. I know he is with me in spirit. The following week, I receive a call from one of Jacob's old friends. He wants to meet and catch up. I feel nervous but agree. I think it will be nice to talk about Jacob and remember the good times. When we meet, the conversation flows easily. We share stories about Jacob, and I feel a sense of warmth. Talking about him brings back happy memories. I laugh as I remember our adventures together. For a moment, I forget about the hurt and the rumors. But then, my friend brings up the topic of the inheritance. I feel my heart race. He shares that he has heard the rumors too. I feel a wave of frustration. I remind him that Jacob made his wishes clear. I don't want to feel defensive, but I can't help it. As we continue talking, I realize that my feelings about the inheritance are tied to my grief. I want to honor Jacob while also protecting myself. I take a deep breath and try to focus on the love we shared rather than the negativity. After our meeting, I feel a sense of clarity. I know I need to address the rumors head-on. I decide to write a letter to my family again, this time expressing how their words affect me. I want them to understand that their actions hurt me. In the letter, I explain that I am not greedy or selfish. I am simply following Jacob's wishes and taking care of myself. I want them to see that I am grieving too. I write about how the rumors make me feel isolated and alone. Once I finish the letter, I feel a sense of relief. I know it might not change their minds, but I need to express my feelings. I mail the letter, feeling nervous about their response. A few days later, I receive a call from my mother. She sounds upset, and I can feel my heart race. I wonder if she received the letter. She asks to meet again. I agree, hoping that we can have another open conversation. When we meet, she looks serious. She tells me that she is sorry for how things have been. She explains that the rumors were never meant to hurt me. I can see she is trying to understand my perspective. I take a deep breath and share my feelings again. I explain that I need them to support me, not judge me. I want to feel connected to my family, but I need them to respect my choices. I can see her expression soften. My mother opens up about her own grief. She admits that she has been struggling too. I feel a sense of compassion for her. We share our pain and realize we are both trying to navigate our loss. As we talk, I feel a glimmer of hope. I can see that my family is trying to understand. I remind her that I want us to support each other during this difficult time. I can feel the connection growing between us. By the end of our conversation, I feel lighter. We agree to keep the lines of communication open. I know it won't be easy, but I feel a sense of progress. I realize that healing takes time, but it is possible. After our meeting, I feel more empowered. I know I can stand firm in my decisions while also seeking connection with my family. I refuse to let their anger or rumors define my journey. As the days pass, I continue to focus on my healing. I spend time with friends, go for walks, and reflect on my memories with Jacob. I remind myself that I am not alone in this journey. I have learned that it's okay to feel hurt and angry. But I also know that I can choose to rise above it. I will honor Jacob's memory while taking care of myself. With each passing day, I feel stronger. I will not let negativity hold me back. I will keep moving forward, embracing the love and support around me. I am ready to face whatever comes next, one step at a time. The weeks turn into months, and I feel a shift within myself. The pain of losing Jacob remains, but I am learning to navigate my grief. I focus on the progress I have made with my family. We've had open conversations, and it feels good to connect again. One day, I receive an invitation to a family gathering. My parents are hosting a small get-together for relatives. At first, I feel hesitant. I worry about facing the family drama again. But then I remind myself that I've made progress. I want to be part of the family, and I decide to go. The day of the gathering arrives, and I feel nervous as I get ready. I choose a simple dress that makes me feel comfortable. I take a deep breath before leaving the house, reminding myself that I am stronger now. When I arrive, I see familiar faces. My parents greet me with warm hugs, and I feel a sense of belonging. The atmosphere is light, and I notice that everyone seems to be in good spirits. I feel grateful for this moment. As I mingle with relatives, I notice that the conversations are different this time. People ask me how I'm doing, and they seem genuinely interested. I share stories about Jacob, and I feel the love surrounding me. It comforts me. But then, I spot Sarah across the room. My heart races. I remember our last conversation and the tension that lingered. I take a deep breath and approach her. I want to clear the air. "Hey, Sarah," I say, my voice steady. "Hi, Emma," she replies, looking a bit nervous. We stand there for a moment, and I can sense the hesitation in the air. I decide to be honest. I know things have been tough between us. I want us to be close again. She looks at me, and I can see her eyes soften. I want that too. I'm sorry for how I acted before. I feel a wave of relief wash over me. I appreciate that. It's been hard for both of us. As we talk, I feel the tension start to fade. We share stories about Jacob, laughing and remembering the good times. I realize how much I miss having her in my life. It feels good to reconnect. Later in the evening, I gather with my family in the living room. We sit together, sharing memories and stories about Jacob. I notice my parents watching us with smiles. They seem proud to see us connecting. As the night goes on, I feel a sense of warmth and love surrounding me. I realize that this is what I've been missing. It's the feeling of family, of support, and of understanding. I know that we are healing together. But then, as the conversation shifts, someone brings up the topic of the inheritance. My heart sinks. I feel the tension rise again. I hold my breath, unsure of how everyone will react. My father starts to speak, but I can see the worry in his eyes. He mentions that some relatives have been talking about it. I feel my heart race. I wonder if this will cause another fight. Before I can say anything, Sarah jumps in. I think we should just let it go. It's not worth the stress. I feel surprised by her response. It seems like she's trying to protect me. I realize that she has been reflecting on her own feelings too. I take a deep breath and decide to speak up. I appreciate that, Sarah. But I think it's important for us to respect Jacob's wishes. He wanted me to have what he left behind. The room goes silent, and I can feel everyone looking at me. I continue, I want us to support each other, not let this divide us. My mother nods in agreement. Emma's right. We need to focus on what Jacob would have wanted, and that's to be a family. I feel a wave of relief as I see my family start to understand. They nod in agreement, and the tension begins to fade. We shift the conversation back to happier memories. I share a funny story about Jacob and how he always made everyone laugh. As I speak, I see smiles on everyone's faces. The warmth returns, and I feel grateful to be surrounded by love. As the night comes to a close, I realize how far we've come. I look at Sarah, and we share a knowing glance. I feel a sense of connection growing stronger between us. When I leave the gathering, I feel lighter. I know that there will still be challenges ahead, but I am proud of the progress we've made. I have learned that healing takes time, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. In the following days, I continue to focus on my healing. I spend time with friends and engage in activities that bring me joy. I remember Jacob and carry his memory with me in my heart. I also keep in touch with my family. We have more open conversations, and it feels good to connect. I realize that we are all navigating our grief in our own ways, but we can support each other. One evening, I sit down to write in my notebook. I reflect on the family gathering and the progress we've made. I feel grateful for the love and support surrounding me. I know that I can honor Jacob while also taking care of myself. As I finish writing, I feel a sense of peace. I know that healing is a journey, and I am ready to embrace whatever comes next. I will continue to lean on the people who support me and honor Jacob's memory in my own way. With each day, I grow stronger. I realize that I can face my grief while also finding joy in life again. I am ready to move forward, one step at a time, with love in my heart. A year has passed since Jacob's death. I can hardly believe it. The days have been filled with ups and downs, but I feel stronger now. I have learned to navigate my grief and embrace the love around me. To honor Jacob, I decide to hold a memorial service. I want to celebrate his life with those who loved him. I invite family and friends, hoping to create a space for sharing memories. I want everyone to feel connected, just as Jacob would have wanted. As I plan the service, I feel a mix of emotions. I want it to be a joyful celebration, but I also know it will be hard. I choose a beautiful park where we used to spend time together. It feels like the right place to gather. On the day of the memorial, I arrive early to set up. The sun is shining, and the flowers are blooming. I take a moment to breathe in the beauty around me. I feel Jacob's presence, and it comforts me. Slowly, people begin to arrive. I see familiar faces, and my heart swells with gratitude. Friends and family gather, sharing warm hugs and smiles. I feel a sense of community forming. As the service begins, I stand up in front of everyone. I look out at the crowd and see the love in their eyes. I start by sharing my feelings about Jacob. I talk about his laughter, kindness, and the joy he brought to everyone's lives. I share a story about our first trip together. I talk about how he surprised me with a picnic by the beach. As I recount the details, I see smiles around the room. It brings back happy memories, and I feel the warmth of his spirit. After I speak, I invite others to share their memories. One by one, friends and family step forward. They share their stories of Jacob, and I listen, feeling grateful for each tale. I hear about his generosity, his sense of humor, and the way he always made people feel special. As I listen, I realize how much Jacob impacted everyone. I feel a sense of pride. He touched so many lives, and I know he would be happy to see everyone gathered together. As the service continues, I feel a mix of emotions. I laugh, cry, and celebrate. I know that this is what Jacob would have wanted. He always believed in the power of love and connection. At the end of the service, I decide to plant a tree in his memory. I want it to symbolize life and growth. I choose a spot near the entrance of the park, where everyone can see it. As we gather around the tree, I feel a sense of hope. I take a moment to thank everyone for coming. I express my gratitude for their support during this past year. I know I couldn't have made it without them. After the memorial, I feel lighter. I know that honoring Jacob's memory was the right thing to do. It brought us all together, and I feel a renewed sense of connection with my family and friends. In the weeks that follow, I continue to reflect on Jacob's life. I realize that I have grown through this experience. I have learned to set boundaries, to express my feelings, and to seek support. I also recognize the importance of self-care. I have taken time for myself, allowing myself to grieve while also finding joy. I know that it's okay to feel a mix of emotions. Grief doesn't follow a straight path. As I move forward, I decide to start a foundation in Jacob's name. I want to give back to the community that supported us. I want to help others who are struggling with loss. I begin to plan how the foundation will work. I want to focus on mental health support and resources for those grieving. I feel excited about the possibilities. This is a way to honor Jacob and continue his legacy of kindness. As I work on the foundation, I feel empowered. I know that I am turning my grief into something positive. I am giving others hope and support, just as Jacob would have wanted. Over time, I see the impact the foundation has on others. I receive messages from people who have benefited from our resources. They share their stories of healing and gratitude, and it fills my heart with joy. I realize that I am not just honoring Jacob's memory, I am also creating a space for others to heal. I feel a deep sense of purpose. I know that this is my way of keeping Jacob alive in my heart and in the hearts of others. As I look back on the past year, I see how far I've come. I have faced challenges, but I have also found strength and love. I have learned that family is not just about blood, it's about the connections we create. I feel grateful for the relationships I have rebuilt with my family. We have learned to support each other through our grief. The bonds we share have grown stronger, and I know that Jacob would be proud of us. As I stand by the tree we planted, I feel a sense of peace. I can see how life continues to grow around it. I know that I will carry Jacob's memory with me always. I take a deep breath and smile. I am ready for this new chapter in my life. I will keep moving forward, honoring Jacob, and bringing hope to others. I know that love is the most powerful force, and it will guide me on my journey. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.